Right. So the reading I'm doing today is for a female. She's a Virgo. She's in her 40s. I have more information than that, but that's all I'm going to share with you. Um, and here is her question. So she says, I think there is a problem within my friendship and social group. It has always been easy between us all, and now there are divisions. So questions are, what's happening? Is somebody particularly responsible? And I suppose, lastly, the opposite of that is it in my head? So these are the questions that this person would like answered. So just to briefly say what I've done to set up is I have my divination tea. So I started this quite a while ago. Um, and this is what I drink to help me connect to source. I burn some incense, which is everything that's in here is there, but there are some things in there that you just cannot put in your stomach at all. So that goes in there, and I can, if you want, let you know what those are. And around what I have here are some tools that I use. So I have some crystals. I have a feather from Dudley. Dudley is a butcher bird that was very tame and was my roommate at one time. So that's Dudley's feather and is very useful. Anyway, enough of that waffle. What I do is see these goddess cards. These are the Doreen Virtue ones. I like them a lot. So what I do when I'm doing a reading is this is for me as the reader, and how I do it is about the approach, right? So I'm sort of meditating, I suppose, and thinking about the the way for me to approach this reading. What do I think um, the reading? What do I need to bring to the table for this reading? You know, and what do I think is important? But this is really for me, as in this is how for me. I suppose you're going to say how interesting. How this is my workday. How's my workday going to go? That's what it is, all in particular for this particular reading. So I'll just show you them because they're so pretty. But they're the Doreen Virtue Goddess Oracle cards, and the one we pulled today was Damara, and hers is for guiding children. And she says on here, you are good at helping, counseling, and healing children. Use your skills to help children now. Now, it's very interesting. So I love these ones. I'll just try to get the sign out. Um, Very interesting because I know what this person does for a living, and they do work with children. So I feel that this is um, we're all in tune. We're ready to go here. I have been smoked out with my censer and incense. I have already had a whole glass of or a whole cup of tea. This is my second. I did a very private opening and connection before I started because that's not something I'd like to share with people. So here we go. This is the reading. So this card is for the querent. So this card, oh, that's interesting. Okay. This card is for the querent. This card is in relation to, or is in the position of the subject that they want to know about. So this is my querent, the person asking the question. In this particular case, she was talking about a friendship group, a social group. Um, and this we're going to do what is between them now. What's the obstacle or what's the foundation? What's between them now? What is coming up in the future? And what is the near future? And what is the outcome? Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, all right. So the dead bird. Oh, sadly, this is the querent. This is the person that the reading's for. So this, I'll go a bit further into this. This is very much about endings, like full-on endings. There is no recovery. That's them. So I think something, in my opinion, is something is dead to her, you know. Um, as far as the friendship or the social group circle, which is this one, this is broken glass. So, I don't think there needs to be much more said about that. So broken glass is, fighting and aggression, you know, um, it's and just general not so goodness. Love potion. This is interesting. What it's founded on. So the foundation of this social group and the querent. Um, love potion. Now, love potions are. This is a great card, by the way. I love it, love it, love it. It's beautiful as love potions are. So, what are love potions? Love potions are synthetic. It's a fake love, or it's certainly not a lasting love. It's a bit like perfume. You can do it, and it gets everything happening, but it's a bit fake, and it doesn't last. Love potions never last. They never last forever. Um, the knife is coming up, and the knife is pretty. Now, you can see the knife in relation to the broken glass as an aggressive tool, which it is, but a knife can also be a. Well, there's two ways to go with this one in particular. In this circumstance, I'll find out a bit more in a second. What I think about with this is I think the knife could either be a stab in the back, um, because that's very prevalent in a knife, or it can be a surgical removal. Just, you know, I'm just going to cut this person or this group. I'm going to cut myself. Sometimes I'm going to cut myself out of this equation. They're just severing ties completely. And the outcome is a man. Now, I do know that this social group is predominantly female. Um, so it's definitely a bunch of ladies. And the fact that there's a man at the end might very well mean that there is a man involved in the ending, you know? And anyway, we'll look a bit further through. I'm starting to get a picture, because that's what all the cards mean individually. But when you are trying to give insight, or when you're doing a reading, it's not just about each card and where it's placed. It is really about a story. You see them in connection to each other, you see them in relation to each other, and you start to pick up a story. Now, I like these cards. They're Gypsy tattoo cards by Paris de Bono. I love them. And what I really like about this spread also is that you layer. So this gives me a general, okay, this is sort of where I'm starting with this. And it's pretty much about one topic, one thing. But you can layer. So for example, I would like to find out a little bit more. Actually, the thing that interests me most is the dead bird at the moment. I think we're just going to layer as the cards came out. So the dead bird, what is that? That is, look at that, and another death. This is a better death, in my opinion. So this is about death and rebirth. So the skull is really very similar to the death card in tarot. So it's really about death and rebirth. It's not so much about death. It's really just about endings and beginnings. The dead bird card is a little. Actually, there's nothing in tarot that it really relates to. But so these two, very, very interesting. This is some. I would also say there are some major changes going on in this person's life. Like there are lots of things going on, lots of endings, I should say. Big transformational time. One more for luck, because I like threes. Okay, so definitely there is some peace. There is peace underlying this, I think. So I think when you look at these three cards that represent the person who's having the reading, they need to make some peace. I think there's peace coming. There is purity. I think there's a washout. But anyway, that's just in regards to the person. Definitely looking for some peace. There are some transformations and a new beginning coming for the person. Full stop. Change is happening. The subject, we can call this. So this is the friendship group in this. Next one. Okay. Woman. So no doubt to me that the woman is involved. And perfect fit. So that's interesting too. So there is a broken glass, lock and key woman. The woman is looking inward. So there is a woman in this who is looking into the problems. I shouldn't say problems, the foundation, the issues between them. The lock and the key is looking for a perfect fit as well. So let's just keep going. This is a bit interesting. That's actually the most interesting. This is very, very explainable, if you know what I mean. So, love potion. Okay. See, I'd look at that and say, what it isn't, it's stubborn, but it's over, you know. And one more for luck, the star. So, over ambitious. I see two things sort of about ambition, you know, the star. And so I see a stubborn, the basis of it, the foundation, what's between these two things at the moment. It's a bit fake, it's a bit stubborn, and it's a bit ambitious. That's the foundation. That's what it's already been built on. What's coming up? Okay, so that, remember I said about the knife, it could be the stab in the back, and it still could be. There's no reason it can't be. But now we have a wheel, which means turning. And not obviously a wheel means turning, but what I mean is things are in motion. They're not, it's the opposite of this. So coming up, it's not stuck. It's not stuck in this over ambitious and fake environment, you know. There may very well be a stab in the back. There may very well be just an exclusion of some sort, but that's okay because it's the wheel's turning. It's a very fluid time. There's going to be stuff happening soon. Okay, so now we've got two fightings. We've got a fighting fish and a knife, and on top of that, the wheel. So this is all about, these three cards represent what's coming up in the near future. So looking at all of this, or problems, I would say you don't like what, I think this makes this, so this situation with this makes this person, it really comes to a head. They just don't like the way it's going, and they want to get out of it. And there's fighting. People don't even like their own reflection. There's no ending. So it should move on. It's cyclical. It's not going to last however long this fighting lasts. So I think it isn't on very good ground. It's only going to get worse, but it's going to happen. Like, I don't think there's any way you can stop it happening. And the end, let's have a look at this one. Snake, man, crown. Okay, so what I see for the outcome is that, yes, it's messy. So the snake can be sabotage oriented, if you know what I mean. You know, snake in the grass and all that sort of thing. But a snake can also mean just tangled up. And the crown in this case could be, I think a man is going to help untangle it, is what I think. And untangle in the head. See, the crown is quite, although it's successful in all sorts of things, it's a good card. It also means intellectual, like it's in the head. Not saying it's all in the head as in it's an imagination, but I suppose that's what it is. That's where any pain would be in the head. You know, whatever's happening, getting over it is the way to go. And I think that a man is going to untangle how do I say without swearing? A man's going to untangle the head fuck. That's what I'm trying to say. That this is causing. So now we see all of it in relation. We've got someone who is already dropping things like flies. That is in their personal things. So they're changing. They're leaving things behind on a personal level. Some of them are not to come back. Some of them are be transformational. So just, I think, going through major changes in their life, but changes for peace. You know, these are changes to make their life better and more peaceful. You have a group that is all about, see, when I look at that lock and key, I think clicky clicky. It's really about who's got the lock and who's got the key, who lets who in. That's very much the feeling I get. It's very much in out, like locking the door, unlocking the door. There's definitely a female involved in that, I think. Um, I know definitely and I think don't go together, but there we are. And broker. So this is not very pleasant and locked in, locked out. It's based on some sort of fake, sort of ambitious, a bit fame orient. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's quite popular. I think there's been a bit of, people want it or, coveted. That was based on maybe helping each other shine. I don't know how to explain it. And stubbornness, but it was never going to last. And it's a bit fake, to be honest. Um, and coming up, it's, well, I don't think this says, I don't think you're going to get away easy, is what that fighting fish does. I think the movement from the wheel, the movement's going to happen. The fighting fish is you really don't like your own reflection, amongst other things, but also just means fighting. And the cutting off, I think it's going to be very unpleasant, and they're not going to like the way they feel about themselves or the way this makes them feel or what it brings out in them. It's going to be not very pleasant. And that there will be a man involved in the outcome. And the outcome I see as messy but successful. So I think it will work. I think from what I mean, obviously I had a conversation with this person, which I'm not putting in this. But they were, I know that what they were really trying to get at was, is it all in my head? Am I just making stuff up? Am I being really difficult? And the answer to that would be yes, but it's not for nothing. So, the saying, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not all out to get you. Well, that's what this is. There is a lot going in your head because there are a lot of changes going on. And this, what you've got was not actually as good as you thought it was. It was a bit fake and it's a bit difficult. And one woman is playing with the lock and the key, and there's some broken glass. Like, it's not very good. It wasn't built to last. You know, um, not to take away what it was like. Season, reason, lifetime, and all that nonsense. Um, the getting out of it might not quite be as simple as, okay, thanks, it's been fun. Oh no, I'm busy. I think there might be some arguments about it, and I think it's going to be a man that helps. Now, what I didn't do with this reading was put a time on it, which I sometimes do. Um, and by time, I mean, I would shuffle the cards and sort of ask it, what's going to happen in this thing for a certain amount, over 6 months or something. So I didn't do the time in this regards. Um, but we'll see. I think it's coming up soon. So good luck with everything. Hang tight. You are going through changes. No, you're not completely paranoid. There is shit going on. Um, and it's not going to be pleasant, but perhaps it's your husband or someone, they might actually be the person that helps you untangle all of this in that way that, your partner can always just sort of, I'm all, they're always the person that loves you and is there for you. Anyway, thanks very much. Blonde Gypsy, out.